Maya Johnson sat in the back corner of the school cafeteria. She ate her lunch alone like she did every day. Around her, other students laughed and talked in groups. They shared jokes and stories. But Maya kept her head down. She focused on her sandwich and her book. Maya was 15 years old. She was a sophomore at Lincoln High School. She had dark skin and wore her hair in 2 simple braids. Her clothes were plain. A simple blue hoodie and jeans. Nothing that would make anyone look at her twice. And that was exactly what Maya wanted. Lincoln High School was in a nice neighborhood. The houses were big. The lawns were perfect. Most of the students were white. Their families had money. They drove nice cars and wore expensive clothes. Maya was different. She lived on the other side of town with her mother. Her mother worked 2 jobs to pay the bills. They did not have much money, but they had enough. Maya did not mind being quiet. She actually liked it. When you were quiet, people did not bother you. They did not ask you questions. They did not make fun of you. You could just exist without any trouble. That was Maya's plan. Stay quiet, stay invisible, get through high school without any problems. But Maya had a secret. A big secret, something that no one at Lincoln High School knew about her. Every Tuesday and Thursday after school, Maya took 2 buses across town. She went to her grandmother's apartment in the old part of the city. The building was small and old. The paint was peeling. The stairs creaked when you walked on them. But inside her grandmother's tiny apartment was something special. Something that made Maya's heart sing every time she saw it. A piano. Not just any piano. It was an old upright piano that her grandmother had owned for 40 years. The wood was dark and worn. Some of the keys were a little yellow with age. But when you played it, the sound was beautiful. Rich and warm, like honey and sunlight mixed together. Maya's grandmother was named Dorothy. Everyone called her Miss Dot. She was 72 years old. She had gray hair that she wore in a neat bun. Her hands were wrinkled but still strong. Those hands had played piano for over 60 years. Miss Dot had been a jazz pianist back in the 1960s and 1970s. She played in clubs and bars. She played at weddings and parties. She even played on the radio a few times, but that was a long time ago. Now Miss Dot lived alone in her small apartment. Her husband had died 10 years ago. Her daughter, Maya's mother, was always working. So Miss Dot spent most of her time alone, except for Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. Those were her favorite times, because those were the times when Maya came to visit. Maya had been taking piano lessons from her grandmother since she was 4 years old. 11 years of lessons. 11 years of practice. 11 years of learning music. Maya knew how to play classical music. She knew Beethoven and Mozart and Bach. But Miss Dot also taught her jazz, the old songs from the 1950s and 1960s. Songs with soul and feeling, songs that made you want to close your eyes and sway. Miss Dot also taught Maya modern songs, songs by Alicia Keys and John Legend, songs that young people listened to on the radio. Miss Dot wanted Maya to know all kinds of music. She wanted her granddaughter to be well-rounded, to be excellent, and Maya was excellent. She was more than excellent. She was amazing. Her fingers flew across the keys like birds in flight. She could play fast pieces that required incredible skill. She could play slow pieces that made people cry. She understood music in a way that most people never would. Music was not just notes on a page for Maya. It was emotion. It was story. It was life. But Maya never told anyone about her piano playing. Not the kids at school. Not her teachers. Not even her few acquaintances who sometimes said hello to her in the hallway. The only people who knew were her mother and her grandmother. And that was how Maya wanted it. Why did Maya keep it secret? She was not really sure. Maybe it was because she liked having something that was just hers. Something private and special. Maybe it was because she was afraid of what people would think. Would they laugh? Would they say a girl like her could not possibly play piano that well? Would they not believe her? Or maybe deep down Maya was just scared. Scared of being seen. Scared of standing out. Scared of what might happen if people actually paid attention to her. So she kept her secret, and she stayed invisible. It was a Tuesday morning in October. The weather was getting cold. The leaves on the trees outside the school were turning red and orange and yellow. Maya walked into Lincoln High School wearing her usual hoodie and jeans. She carried her backpack over one shoulder. Inside were her textbooks and notebooks and pencils. Nothing special. The hallways were crowded with students. They rushed to their lockers. They shouted to their friends across the hall. They laughed and pushed and made noise. Maya walked through the crowd like a ghost. No one noticed her. No one said hello. That was normal. First period was English class. Maya sat in the back row by the window. She liked that seat. She could look outside when the teacher was talking about books Maya had already read. Second period was math. Third period was history. Maya was a good student. She got mostly A's and some B's, but she never raised her hand in class. She never volunteered to answer questions. When teachers called on her, she gave short, quiet answers. Then she went back to being invisible. Fourth period was her free period. Most students went to the cafeteria or the library. Maya always went to the library. It was quiet there. She could read in peace. Sometimes she did homework. Sometimes she just looked out the window and thought about music, about the songs she would play at her grandmother's house that afternoon. But today was different. Today there was an assembly during fourth period. All students had to go to the gymnasium. Maya groaned quietly when she heard the announcement over the loudspeaker. She hated assemblies. Too many people. Too much noise. Too much attention focused in one place. She walked to the gym with the crowd of students. The gymnasium was huge. It could hold almost 1,000 people. The floor was shiny wood. The bleachers rose up on both sides. There was a stage at one end with a large podium, and on the stage Maya noticed something that made her heart skip a beat. A grand piano. It was beautiful, black and shiny, much nicer than her grandmother's old upright piano. Maya stared at it for a moment. She wondered what it would feel like to play a piano like that. How would it sound? Would the keys be smooth under her fingers? Would the notes be even richer and warmer than on Miss Dot's piano? But then she shook her head. She would never play that piano. She would never touch it. That piano was not for her. She was invisible, remember? She was the quiet girl in the back who nobody noticed. Maya climbed up the bleachers. She went all the way to the top, to the back row. She sat down in the corner as far from other students as possible. Some girls from her grade were sitting a few rows down. They were the popular girls, the pretty girls, the girls with nice clothes and perfect hair. They were giggling about something. Maya did not care what. More and more students filed into the gym. The noise grew louder. Everyone was talking at once. Teachers stood along the walls trying to keep order. Finally, the principal walked onto the stage. His name was Mr. Davidson. He was a tall man with gray hair and glasses. He wore a suit and tie. He thought he was funny, but most students found him annoying. Mr. Davidson tapped the microphone. "Testing, testing," he said. His voice boomed through the speakers. "Good morning, Lincoln High." Some students shouted, "Good morning." Back, most just sat there. Maya stared at her hands in her lap. "I know you're all wondering why we called this assembly," Mr. Davidson said. He smiled like he had exciting news. "Well, I have something very special to announce. As you all know, our annual talent show is coming up in 2 weeks." A few students cheered. Most looked bored. The talent show happened every year in October. It was supposed to raise money for school programs. Students could sing or dance or do comedy or whatever they wanted. Some acts were good. Most were not. "This year's talent show is going to be our biggest and best yet," Mr. Davidson continued. He was speaking too loud and too enthusiastically. "We have this beautiful grand piano, donated by the Parker family. Isn't it gorgeous?" He gestured to the piano on the stage. A few people clapped politely. "We're hoping to see some amazing musical performances this year," Mr. Davidson said. "Singers, dancers, musicians of all kinds. This is your chance to shine. Sign-up sheets will be available in the main office starting tomorrow." Maya tuned out. She was not interested in the talent show. She was not interested in performing in front of hundreds of people. The very thought made her stomach turn. But then something happened that changed everything. Mr. Davidson was scanning the crowd of students. His eyes moved over the bleachers, looking at faces. Suddenly, his gaze landed on Maya in the back corner. For some reason, he pointed at her. "We want everyone to feel welcome to participate," he said. His finger was aimed right at Maya. Maybe even Maya could get up here and play us something on this beautiful piano. The gymnasium erupted in laughter. It was not kind laughter. It was the cruel laughter of teenagers who thought something was ridiculous. Maya felt her face grow hot. Her heart started pounding. Every eye in the gym seemed to turn toward her. Students were looking back at her, laughing and whispering. "Maya!" one girl near her said loudly. Maya Johnson? Play the piano. Then she burst out laughing. Does she even know what a piano is? Another student said, and more people laughed. The popular girls a few rows down were giggling and looking back at Maya. One of them said something to her friend and they both laughed harder. Maya wanted to disappear. She wanted to sink through the bleachers and fall through the floor. She wanted to be anywhere but here, with hundreds of people laughing at her. Her hands were shaking. Her face was burning. She could not breathe right. Mr. Davidson was still smiling on the stage. He did not seem to realize how cruel his joke had been. He probably thought he was being inclusive, encouraging, but he had just humiliated Maya in front of the entire school. Anyway, Mr. Davidson said, moving on, I hope to see lots of sign-ups tomorrow. This is going to be a great show. He kept talking about the talent show, about the rules and the schedule and the prizes, but Maya heard none of it. The blood was rushing in her ears. Her vision was blurry with tears that she refused to let fall. She would not cry. She would not give them that satisfaction. When the assembly finally ended, students began filing out of the gym. Maya waited until most people had left. She did not want to walk through the crowd. She did not want anyone looking at her or talking to her. When the bleachers were mostly empty, she stood up on shaky legs and made her way down. As she walked through the gym, she heard whispers. That's her. That's the girl Principal Davidson was talking about. Can you imagine? More giggles. Maya kept her head down. She walked faster. She just wanted to get out of there. The rest of the school day was torture. In every class, students whispered and looked at her. Some of them made jokes. One boy in her math class made piano-playing gestures with his fingers and laughed. Maya ignored them all. She focused on her notebook, on her textbook, on anything but the people around her. Finally, the last bell rang. School was over. Maya grabbed her backpack and rushed out of the building. She practically ran to the bus stop.
She needed to get away.
She needed to go somewhere safe. The bus ride to her grandmother's apartment seemed to take forever. Maya stared out the window, replaying the assembly in her mind. Mr. Davidson's pointing finger, the laughter, the whispers, the humiliation, over and over again. Why did he do that? Did he think it was funny? Did he think he was being nice? Did he have any idea how much he had hurt her? When the bus finally reached her grandmother's stop, Maya got off and walked quickly to the old building. She climbed the creaky stairs to the third floor. She knocked on apartment 3B. Miss Dot opened the door with a warm smile. She was wearing a flower print dress and her apron. The apartment smelled like cookies. There's my girl, she said. You're right on time. She stopped. She looked at Maya's face. Her smile faded. Baby, what's wrong? Maya tried to hold it together. She really did. But the moment her grandmother asked, the tears started falling. She could not stop them. All the humiliation and hurt came pouring out. Oh, sweetheart, Miss Dot said. She pulled Maya into a hug. Come inside. Tell me what happened. They sat on the old couch in the living room. Miss Dot held Maya's hand while she told the story. About the assembly. About the principal pointing at her. About everyone laughing. About how awful it felt. Miss Dot listened quietly. Her face grew sad and then angry. When Maya finished, her grandmother was quiet for a moment. Then she squeezed Maya's hand. People can be cruel, Miss Dot said softly, especially when they don't understand. Your principal made a joke at your expense. That was wrong. Very wrong. Everyone thinks I'm nobody, Maya said. Her voice was small. They think I can't do anything. They don't even know me. That's their loss, Miss Dot said firmly. You are extraordinary, Maya. You have a gift that most people will never have. You can make music that touches the soul. Don't let ignorant people make you forget that. Maya wiped her eyes. But they don't know about the music. Nobody knows. Whose fault is that? Miss Dot asked gently. Maya looked at her grandmother. What do you mean? Baby, you hide your light under a bushel, Miss Dot said. You keep your gift secret. You stay invisible. I understand why. The world can be hard for a young black girl. People make assumptions. They have low expectations. It's easier to hide than to prove them wrong. Maya nodded slowly. But hiding doesn't change their minds, Miss Dot continued. It just keeps you small. Keeps you safe, maybe, but also keeps you from being everything you could be. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Miss Dot stood up. She walked to the piano and sat down on the bench. She patted the spot next to her. Maya joined her grandmother at the piano. "Let me tell you a story," Miss Dot said. "When I was about your age, I was playing piano at a church in South Carolina. This was 1967. Things were different then, harder for black folks. After the service, a white man came up to me. He told me I played pretty good for a colored girl." Maya winced. "I wanted to be angry," Miss Dot said. But instead I thanked him. "You know why?" "Because even his racism couldn't hide the fact that he was impressed. My playing was so good that even his prejudice had to acknowledge it." Miss Dot put her hands on the piano keys. She played a few soft notes. "Excellence speaks louder than words, Maya. When you are undeniably good at something, people have to pay attention. Their assumptions crack, their expectations break. They have to see you differently." Maya thought about this. She thought about the grand piano on the stage. She thought about all those laughing students. She thought about Mr. Davidson's pointing finger. And for the first time, she felt something other than humiliation. She felt angry. Not screaming angry, not violent angry, but a quiet, burning anger, a determination. Why should she hide? Why should she let them think she was nobody? Why should their ignorance define her? She had spent years perfecting her craft, years learning and practicing and becoming excellent. And for what? To stay invisible? To let people laugh at her? Maybe it was time to stop hiding. Maybe it was time to show them who she really was. Maya did not sleep well that night. She lay in her small bed staring at the ceiling. Her mind kept going back to the assembly. But now, instead of just feeling hurt, she felt something else. Something stronger. A fire was burning inside her. The next morning was Wednesday. Maya got dressed and ate breakfast with her mother. Her mother's name was Linda. She was getting ready for work. She had to be at her first job by 7 in the morning. She worked at a hospital as a nurse's aide. Then she worked evenings at a grocery store. "You're quiet this morning," Linda said, pouring coffee into a travel mug. "More quiet than usual, I mean." Maya pushed her cereal around in her bowl. She had not told her mother about what happened at the assembly. She did not want to worry her. Her mother had enough to worry about. "I'm fine, Mom," Maya said. Linda looked at her daughter. Mothers always know when something is wrong. But Linda also knew that Maya would talk when she was ready. "Okay, baby. Have a good day at school. I'll be home late tonight." "Okay. Love you." "Love you too." After her mother left, Maya got her backpack and walked to the bus stop. The morning was cold and gray. Fall was turning into winter. She pulled her hoodie tighter around herself. At school, things were different. Word had spread about the assembly. More students knew about what Mr. Davidson had said. Some of them thought it was funny. They made jokes when Maya walked by. "There goes our piano star," one boy said sarcastically. His friends laughed. Maya kept walking. She kept her head down. But inside, that fire kept burning. At lunch, something unusual happened. A girl named Jessica sat down at Maya's table. Jessica was one of the few students who had ever been nice to Maya. They were not exactly friends. More like friendly acquaintances. They sometimes worked together on group projects. Jessica was mixed race, black and white. She wore her curly hair in a ponytail. She was on the soccer team and got good grades. "Hey," Jessica said, setting down her lunch tray. "Hey," Maya replied, surprised. Jessica usually sat with the soccer girls. "I was at the assembly yesterday," Jessica said. She opened her milk carton. "What Mr. Davidson did was messed up." Maya shrugged, trying to act like it did not bother her. "He shouldn't have pointed you out like that," Jessica continued. "It was rude. Everybody laughing was rude too." "It's fine," Maya said quietly. "It's not fine," Jessica said. "But you know what would be amazing?" Maya looked up at her. "If you actually did sign up for the talent show," Jessica said. Her eyes were bright with an idea. "And you got up there and blew everyone's mind. Wouldn't that be incredible?" Maya's heart started beating faster. "I can't do that. Why not?" "Because Maya stopped. "Because why?" Because she was scared? Because she wanted to stay invisible? Those reasons seemed weaker now. "Can you actually play piano?" Jessica asked. "Or was Mr. Davidson just being totally random?" This was the moment. Maya could lie. She could say no, of course not, that's why it was so stupid. She could keep her secret safe. Stay invisible, stay small, or she could tell the truth. "I can play," Maya said softly. Jessica's eyebrows went up. "Seriously?" "Seriously." My grandmother taught me. I've been playing since I was 4. 11 years? Jessica looked impressed. You must be really good then. Maya nodded. I'm good. Then you should totally do the talent show, Jessica said excitedly. Maya, think about it. Everyone thinks you can't play. They all laughed. But if you get up there and actually play something amazing, you would prove them all wrong. You would prove Mr. Davidson wrong. I don't know, Maya said. The thought terrified her. Standing on that stage, in front of hundreds of people. What if she messed up? What if her hands shook so badly she could not play? What if... You don't have to decide right now, Jessica said. Just think about it, okay? I think it would be awesome, and I think you could do it. For the rest of the day, Maya could not stop thinking about Jessica's words. Sign up for the talent show. Prove them wrong. Show them what she could do. That afternoon, Maya took the bus to her grandmother's apartment like always. But her mind was far away. She was imagining herself on that stage. She was imagining sitting at that beautiful grand piano. She was imagining playing. Would people laugh at first? Probably. They would expect her to be terrible. They would expect her to embarrass herself. But then she would start to play. And the laughter would stop. And they would listen. Really listen. They would hear what she could do. They would see that she was not nobody. She was somebody. She was a musician. You're distracted today, Miss Dot said. They were sitting at the piano, but Maya had barely played. She kept making mistakes, which was not like her. Sorry, Grandma, Maya said. What's on your mind, baby? Maya took a deep breath. The talent show is in 2 weeks, at school. There's a sign-up sheet in the office. Miss Dot waited. She did not push. She just waited for Maya to continue. I'm thinking about signing up, Maya said. The words came out in a rush. I'm thinking about playing the piano, in front of everyone, showing them that I can do it, proving that Mr. Davidson was wrong to laugh at me, proving that they were all wrong. Miss Dot was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. It was a proud smile, a knowing smile. Are you sure? I don't know, Maya admitted. I'm scared, really scared. What if I mess up? What if I freeze? What if they laugh at me again? Those are all possibilities, Miss Dot said honestly. Performing is scary, especially the first time, especially when you're doing it to prove something. The pressure is enormous. So maybe I shouldn't do it, Maya said. I didn't say that, Miss Dot replied. I just said it's scary. But scared doesn't mean impossible. Scared doesn't mean you can't do it. Some of the best things I ever did in my life I did while I was scared. She stood up from the piano and walked to a shelf on the wall. She pulled down an old photo album. She sat back down next to Maya and opened it. The photos were old and faded. They showed a young black woman with a beautiful afro sitting at a piano. She was wearing a sparkly dress. She was smiling at the camera. It was Miss Dot, 50 years younger. This was me in 1969, Miss Dot said, pointing at a photo. I was 22 years old. This was my first big performance at a jazz club in Chicago. I was terrified, really? Maya asked. Her grandmother always seemed so confident. Oh yes, Miss Dot said. I was so nervous I almost threw up backstage. My hands were shaking. I thought about running away. What made you go through with it? I realized something, Miss Dot said. I realized that my fear was not about whether I could play well. I knew I could play well. My fear was about what people would think. Would they like me? Would they accept me? Would I be good enough? She turned the page in the album. More photos of performances. Different clubs. Different dresses. Always that same confident smile. But here's the truth I learned, Miss Dot continued. You can't control what people think. You can only control what you do. So I focused on my playing. I focused on the music. And when I did that, the fear got smaller. Not gone, but smaller. Manageable. Maya looked at the photos. Her grandmother looked so strong. So sure of herself. If you decide to do this talent show, Miss Dot said, you need to do it for the right reasons. Don't do it to get revenge on those kids who laughed. Don't do it to embarrass Mr. Davidson. Do it because you love music. Do it because you want to share your gift. Do it because you're ready to stop hiding. What if I'm not ready? Maya asked. Then you're not ready, Miss Dot said simply. And that's okay too. This is your choice, Maya, not mine. Not your mother's, not Jessica's, yours. They sat together looking at the old photos. Then Miss Dot closed the album and set it aside. Tell you what, let's practice. Let's work on some pieces. And while we practice, you can think about what you want to do. No pressure, just music. They practiced for 2 hours that afternoon. They worked on Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. It was one of Maya's favorite pieces. Slow and beautiful and emotional. Then they worked on some Alicia Keys songs, modern music with soul. Then they did some jazz improvisation, just playing whatever felt right. By the time Maya left her grandmother's apartment, her head was clearer. She knew what she wanted to do. She was going to sign up for the talent show. The next morning, Thursday, Maya walked into Lincoln High School with purpose. She went straight to the main office before first period. The secretary, Mrs. Henderson, was sitting at her desk doing paperwork. "Excuse me," Maya said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "I'd like to sign up for the talent show." Mrs. Henderson looked up, surprised. She knew Maya by sight, the quiet girl who never caused trouble. "Oh, of course, dear. The sign-up sheet is right here." She pushed a clipboard across the counter. Maya looked at it. There were already about 15 names on the list. Singers, a dance group, a comedy act, a guitar player. Maya picked up the pen. Her hand shook slightly. This was it. Once she wrote her name, there was no going back. She would be committed. She took a breath and wrote, "Maya Johnson, piano, wonderful." Mrs. Henderson said, "We need more musicians. What will you be playing?" I'm not sure yet," Maya said. "I'll decide." "Well, I look forward to hearing you play," Mrs. Henderson said kindly. Maya nodded and left the office. Her heart was pounding. She had done it. She had signed up. There was no turning back now. She made it halfway down the hallway before the reality hit her. She had just signed up to perform in front of hundreds of people. That afternoon, she went to her grandmother's apartment for her regular lesson. But this time it was different. This time they were preparing for performance. "What piece do you want to play?" Miss Dodd asked. "I was thinking the Moonlight Sonata," Maya said. "It's beautiful, and I know it really well." "It's a good choice," Miss Dodd said. "Classical, impressive, shows your technical skill, but what?" "But it's been done before," Miss Dodd said. "Every piano student in the world learns Moonlight Sonata. It's beautiful, yes. But is it you?" Maya thought about this. "What do you mean?" "What I mean is, this performance is your chance to show people who you really are," Miss Dodd said. "Not just that you can play piano, but who you are as a musician. What makes you special? What makes you different?" "I don't understand," Maya said. Miss Dodd sat down at the piano. "Watch this." She started playing Moonlight Sonata. It was perfect, beautiful, exactly as Beethoven wrote it. Then she stopped. She started playing again, but this time she added something. A little jazz rhythm, a slight change in tempo, some improvisation. Suddenly, the classical piece had soul. It had personality. It was still Moonlight Sonata, but it was also uniquely Miss Dodd. "You see?" Miss Dodd said. "Anyone can play the notes, but you need to play your truth, your experience, your voice." Maya understood. "So I should play more than one thing. Mix it up." "Now you're thinking," Miss Dodd said with a smile. "Show them your range. Show them you can do classical and modern. Show them you have your own style." They worked on a plan. Maya would start with part of Moonlight Sonata. Then she would transition into If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. Then she would finish with some jazz improvisation. It would be a journey. Classical to modern to jazz, European to Black American music, structured to free. It would be Maya's story in music. For the next week, Maya practiced every day. She practiced at her grandmother's apartment. She practiced in her head during classes. She hummed the melodies to herself on the bus. The music became part of her. It lived in her fingers and her heart. But practicing alone was different from performing. Miss Dodd knew this. "We need to do a test run," Miss Dodd said on the Tuesday before the talent show. "You need to practice performing, not just playing." "What's the difference?" Maya asked. "Playing is technical," Miss Dodd explained. "Performing is emotional. When you perform, people are watching you, judging you. The pressure is different."
"We need to prepare you for that. How?"
Miss Dodd thought for a moment. Then she smiled. "I have an idea. This Sunday, the church I used to play at is having their afternoon service. I still know the pastor. Let me call him and see if you can play something during the service." Maya's eyes went wide. In front of a whole church? "It's a small church," Miss Dodd said. Maybe 50 people. Good practice for the talent show. I don't know, Grandma. You need to practice performing, Miss Dot said firmly but kindly. You need to feel what it's like to have eyes on you. To have pressure. Sunday is 3 days before your talent show. Perfect timing. Maya was scared, but she knew her grandmother was right. She needed practice. Real practice with a real audience. Okay, she said quietly. I'll do it. That Sunday, Maya put on a nice dress. Her mother came with her to the church. Linda had no idea what was happening. Maya had told her she was going to play piano at Miss Dot's church, but she had not explained about the talent show yet. She would tell her mother after she proved to herself that she could do this. The church was small and old. The pews were wooden and worn. There were about 40 people there. Most of them were elderly. They knew Miss Dot. They greeted her warmly. This is my granddaughter Maya, Miss Dot told them proudly. She's going to play for us today. The church had an old piano similar to Miss Dot's. Maya sat down at it. Her hands were shaking. All those people were looking at her, waiting, expecting. She put her fingers on the keys. She closed her eyes. She took a breath. And then she played. She started with Moonlight Sonata. The familiar notes calmed her nerves. Her fingers moved automatically. She had played this piece 1,000 times. She could play it in her sleep. Then she transitioned to Alicia Keys. The change surprised the audience. She heard a few quiet gasps. Good gasps. Impressed gasps. Then she moved into jazz. This was the scary part. Improvisation meant no safety net. No written notes to fall back on. Just her and the music and whatever came out. But something magical happened. Maya forgot about the people watching. She forgot about being nervous. She just played. The music flowed through her like water, like breath, like life. When she finished, the church was silent for a moment. Then the whole room erupted in applause. People were clapping and smiling. Some were wiping tears from their eyes. That was beautiful, baby, an old woman called out. You got a gift from God, another person said. Maya stood up and took a small bow. Her heart was racing, but in a good way. She had done it. She had performed in front of people, and it had gone well. Her mother was crying. Maya, I had no idea, Linda said, hugging her daughter. I knew you played piano with your grandmother, but I didn't know you were this good. Why didn't you tell me? I was scared, Maya admitted. Scared of what? Of not being good enough. Of people not believing me, of, I don't know, everything. Linda held her daughter's face in her hands. You listen to me. You are more than good enough. You are extraordinary. Don't ever hide your light. After church, Miss Dot took Maya and Linda out for ice cream. They sat in a booth at the old ice cream shop. How do you feel? Miss Dot asked Maya. Good, Maya said. Nervous, but good. That's how you should feel, Miss Dot said. The nerves mean you care. That's important. But now you know you can do it. You performed for an audience, and they loved you. The school talent show will be bigger, Maya said. More people. And a lot of them won't be rooting for me. Some of them want me to fail. Let them want that, Miss Dot said. You just focus on the music. Focus on doing your best. That's all you can control. Maya nodded. She ate her ice cream. She thought about Wednesday night. The talent show. The stage. The grand piano. The hundreds of eyes watching her. 3 more days. She could do this. She would do this. Monday morning came too fast. Maya woke up and realized the talent show was only 2 days away. 2 days until she would stand on that stage in front of the entire school. 2 days until everything changed. At school, the hallways were buzzing with excitement about the talent show. Posters were hanging everywhere. Lincoln High Talent Show, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. auditorium. Students talked about what acts they were excited to see. The popular kids. The funny kids. The kids who were already known for being talented. Nobody was talking about Maya. Well, that was not exactly true. Some people were talking about her, but not in a good way. I can't wait to see Maya embarrass herself, Maya overheard one girl saying to her friends. They were standing by the lockers, I know, right? Another girl replied. What was she thinking signing up? Mr. Davidson is probably dying laughing, a third girl added. His joke turned into reality. Maya kept walking. She did not let them see that their words hurt. But they did hurt. Of course they did. Jessica found Maya at lunch like she had every day since Maya signed up. 2 more days, Jessica said. She was more excited than Maya was. Are you ready? I think so, Maya said. I've been practicing a lot. What are you going to play? Maya explained her plan. Start with classical Beethoven. Move to modern Alicia Keys, finish with jazz improvisation. Show her range. Tell her story through music. That sounds amazing, Jessica said. How long will it be? About 5 minutes total, Maya said. Perfect, Jessica said. I'm telling everyone I know to come watch. This is going to be epic. Maya appreciated Jessica's support, but she also felt the pressure building. What if she was not as good as Jessica thought? What if she disappointed her? That afternoon, Maya went to her grandmother's apartment for what would be her last practice before the show. Miss Dot had cleared her entire afternoon. This was serious preparation time. Today we focus on performance, Miss Dot said. Not just the notes, but everything else. How you walk on stage, how you sit, how you handle nerves, all of it. They practiced Maya's entrance, walking confidently, not rushing, making eye contact with the audience, then sitting at the piano with good posture, adjusting the bench, getting comfortable before starting. The audience needs a moment to settle, Miss Dot explained. Don't rush into playing. Take your time. Take a breath. Let them get quiet. Make them wait for you. That's power. They practiced the music over and over. Maya could play all 3 pieces perfectly now. Her fingers knew every note. The transitions were smooth. The jazz improvisation felt natural. Technically, you're perfect, Miss Dot said. But remember, perfection is not the goal. Connection is the goal. You're not just playing notes. You're communicating emotion, telling a story. Make them feel something. How do I do that? Maya asked. You feel it first, Miss Dot said. You connect to the emotion in the music. Then it flows through you to the audience. Don't think about the notes. Think about what they mean, what they express. They talked about each piece. Moonlight Sonata was about beauty and longing. Sadness mixed with hope. If I Ain't Got You was about love and what really matters in life. The jazz improvisation was about freedom and joy and being yourself. When you play, think about those feelings, Miss Dot said. Let yourself feel them. The audience will feel them too. Maya practiced with this new mindset. Suddenly, the music sounded different, deeper, more meaningful. She was not just playing anymore. She was expressing, that's it, Miss Dot said softly. That's what I've been waiting to hear. That's you, Maya, your voice, your truth. Before Maya left that evening, Miss Dot gave her a gift. It was a small box wrapped in silver paper. Open it, Miss Dot said. Inside was a simple silver bracelet. It looked old and worn. This was my lucky bracelet, Miss Dot explained. I wore it to every performance I ever did. It reminded me that I was not alone, that my music was a gift to share. Now I want you to have it. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Grandma, I can't take this. It's too special. That's exactly why you should have it, Miss Dot said. You're special too, baby. You're about to do something brave, something that will change your life. You deserve to have something that reminds you that you come from a long line of strong, talented women. Your great-grandmother sang in church choirs. I played piano professionally. Your mother works 2 jobs to give you a good life. You have strength in your blood. Maya put on the bracelet. It fit perfectly. Thank you, Grandma, she whispered. You're going to be magnificent, Miss Dot said, hugging her. I wish I could be there to see it. You're not coming? Maya was surprised. I would love to, Miss Dot said, but I think this is something you need to do on your own. Without me watching. Without that safety net, you need to prove to yourself that you can do this. That you're strong enough, Maya understood. It was scary, but she understood. Tuesday was the longest day of Maya's life. School dragged on forever. Every class felt like it lasted for hours. All Maya could think about was the next day. The performance. The stage. The piano. She barely slept Tuesday night. She lay in bed, running through the music in her head. Over and over. Making sure she remembered everything. Worrying about what could go wrong. What if she forgot the notes? What if her hands shook too much to play? What if she tripped walking onto the stage? What if the audience laughed at her before she even started playing? Finally, around 2 a.m, Maya fell into a restless sleep. Wednesday morning arrived. The day of the talent show, Maya felt sick to her stomach. She could barely eat breakfast. Her mother noticed. Big day today, Linda said gently. Maya had finally told her mother about signing up for the talent show. Linda had been surprised but proud. How are you feeling? Terrified, Maya admitted. That's normal, Linda said. But remember what Grandma always says. The fear means you care. And you're going to be amazing. What if I'm not? Maya asked. What if I mess up? Then you mess up, Linda said simply. And the world keeps turning. And you learn from it. But Maya, I don't think you're going to mess up. I heard you play at the church. You were beautiful, perfect. The church was different, Maya said. Those people were nice. They wanted me to succeed. At school, half the people want me to fail. Then prove them wrong, Linda said. Show them who you really are. School that day was chaos. The talent show was all anyone could talk about. The performers were nervous and excited. The regular students were placing bets on who would win. Teachers were trying to get everyone to focus on actual schoolwork, but it was hopeless. Maya kept to herself as usual. But people kept looking at her, whispering. Some looked curious. Some looked amused. Some looked like they felt sorry for her. At lunch, Jessica sat with Maya. She had brought some other friends with her. Girls from the soccer team. These are my teammates, Jessica said. They're all coming to watch you tonight. Really? Maya was surprised. We heard you've been playing piano since you were 4, one girl said. That's amazing. We want to see what you can do. No pressure, another girl added with a smile. Maya tried to smile back, but she felt like she might throw up. The rest of the school day was a blur. Finally, the last bell rang. The talent show would start at 7 p.m. Performers had to be there by 6 p.m. for a sound check and to get organized backstage. Maya went home first. She took a shower. She got dressed. She had chosen a simple but nice outfit. A black skirt and a blue blouse. Nothing too fancy. She did not want to look like she was trying too hard. But she wanted to look put together. Professional. She looked at herself in the mirror. She looked older somehow. More serious. She touched the silver bracelet on her wrist. Her grandmother's lucky bracelet. You can do this, she whispered to her reflection. Her mother drove her to school. They arrived at 5:45. The parking lot was already filling up with cars. Parents and students were heading toward the auditorium. I'll find a seat, Linda said. You go check in backstage. Okay, Maya said. Her voice sounded small. Hey, Linda said, taking her daughter's hand. I am so proud of you. No matter what happens tonight, remember that. I am proud of you for being brave. Maya hugged her mother. Then she grabbed her bag and walked toward the school entrance. The backstage area was crowded and loud. Performers were warming up, practicing, and panicking. A dance group was stretching. A girl with a guitar was tuning it. 2 boys were going over a comedy routine. Maya found a quiet corner and sat down. She closed her eyes. She took deep breaths. She touched the bracelet on her wrist. Maya Johnson, a teacher with a clipboard, approached her. You're number 12 on the list. That puts you in the second half of the show. Probably around 8 p.m., is that okay? Maya nodded. Do you need to check the piano? Make sure it's set up how you want it? Yes, please, Maya said. The teacher led her onto the stage. The curtain was closed, but Maya could hear the audience on the other side. The auditorium was filling up. Hundreds of voices talking and laughing. The grand piano sat in the middle of the stage. It was even more beautiful up close. Black and shiny, perfect, Maya sat at the piano bench. She adjusted it to the right height. She tested the pedals. She played a few notes. The sound was incredible. Rich and full. Better than any piano she had ever played. It sounds good, she told the teacher. Great, the teacher said. Just wait backstage until they call your name. Good luck. The second act was the comedy duo. They told jokes. Some were funny, some were not. People laughed anyway. Third was a dance group. 5 girls doing a hip-hop routine. They were energetic and fun. The audience loved them. Maya watched on a small monitor backstage. Each performer seemed so confident. So comfortable. How did they do that? Acts 4, 5, and 6 came and went. A magician, a boy playing guitar, a girl doing gymnastics. All of them received applause. All of them seemed to enjoy being on stage. Then came Act 7, 8, 9. A singing group. Another dancer. A boy doing beatbox. Maya's heart was pounding. She was sweating. Her hands felt cold and clammy. She was number 12. That meant only 3 more acts before her. Act 10 was a girl singing a country song. She had a pretty voice. The audience swayed along. Act 11 was a boy doing a dramatic monologue from a Shakespeare play. Maya barely paid attention. All she could think about was that she was next. 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 The Shakespeare boy finished. The audience applauded. He took a bow and walked off stage. This was it. Maya Johnson, the teacher with the clipboard whispered. You're up. Go to stage left. When they call your name, walk out to the piano. Maya stood up on shaky legs. She walked to the side of the stage. She could see the audience now through a gap in the curtain. The auditorium was packed. Every seat was full. There must have been 800 people out there. Maybe more. Her mouth was dry. Her heart felt like it might explode out of her chest. Her hands were shaking so badly she had to clasp them together. What was she doing? This was insane. She could not go out there. She could not play in front of all those people. She was going to mess up. She was going to humiliate herself. She should leave. Just walk away. Pretend she got sick. No one would blame her. But then she touched the bracelet on her wrist. She thought about her grandmother, about all those performances Miss Dot had done in her life, about the strength in her blood. She thought about her mother in the audience, waiting to see her daughter shine. She thought about all those kids who had laughed at her, who thought she was nobody, who expected her to fail. She thought about Jessica, who believed in her. She thought about the music, the beautiful music that lived inside her, the gift she had been given, the gift she had spent 11 years developing. She had practiced for this. She was ready for this. She could do this. On stage, Mr. Davidson's voice rang out. Our next performer is a 10th grader playing piano. Please welcome Maya Johnson. There was applause. Some of it was polite. Some of it was confused. Maya heard a few laughs, a few whispers. She took a deep breath. She walked onto the stage. The lights were bright, so bright she could barely see the audience, but she could feel them. 800 pairs of eyes all focused on her. She walked to the piano. Not too fast. Not too slow. Just like Miss Dot had taught her. Head up. Shoulders back, confident. She sat down at the bench. She adjusted it slightly, even though it was already perfect. It gave her something to do with her hands. Gave the audience a moment to settle. The auditorium was getting quiet now. People were waiting to see what would happen. Maya placed her hands on the keys. They were still shaking slightly. She took a breath. A deep breath. In through her nose. Out through her mouth. She closed her eyes for just a second. She thought about the music. About what it meant. About the story she was going to tell. Then she opened her eyes. And she began to play. The first notes of Moonlight Sonata filled the auditorium. Soft and gentle and beautiful. Maya's fingers moved across the keys with practiced grace. The familiar melody flowed from the piano like water. The audience was completely silent now. No whispers, no laughs, just silence and music. Maya felt her nerves starting to fade. The music was taking over. Her hands knew what to do. They had played these notes 1,000 times. They did not need her to think. They just needed her to feel. She played the first movement of the sonata with deep emotion. She thought about beauty and longing, about sadness and hope. She let those feelings flow through her into the music. In the audience, students who had been smiling skeptically were now sitting forward in their seats. Teachers who had expected an awkward performance were exchanging surprised glances. Parents who did not know who Maya Johnson was were being moved by the beautiful music. Then came the transition. Maya did not stop playing. She moved seamlessly from Beethoven into If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. The change from classical to modern was smooth and surprising. Some people gasped. In a good way. The melody was familiar. People knew this song, but hearing it played on piano like this with such skill and emotion made it sound new, made it sound important. Maya played from her heart. She thought about love, about what really matters, about being true to yourself. Her fingers danced across the keys. Strong and sure. No more shaking. No more fear. Just music. The students in the audience were completely absorbed now. This was not what they had expected. Not at all. Maya Johnson, the quiet girl nobody noticed, was playing like a professional. Like someone who had been doing this her whole life. Because she had been. Then came the final transition. The moment Maya had been most nervous about. The jazz improvisation. No written notes. No safety net. Just her and the piano and whatever came out. But when the moment came, it felt right. Natural. The improvisation flowed from her like breath. Like speech. like truth. She played high notes that sparkled like stars. She played low notes that rumbled like thunder. She played fast runs that made people's hearts race. She played slow, soulful melodies that made people want to cry. This was Maya's voice, her true self. Not the quiet, invisible girl who hid in the back of the cafeteria, but the passionate, talented, strong young woman who had music in her soul. The jazz section built to a powerful crescendo. Maya's whole body was engaged now. Not just her fingers, but her arms, her shoulders, her heart. She poured everything she had into those final moments. And then with one last beautiful chord, she finished. Her hands lifted from the keys. The auditorium was completely silent. For a long, terrifying moment, Maya thought something had gone wrong. Why wasn't anyone clapping? Why was it so quiet? Had she messed up? Had she embarrassed herself after all? But then she looked up at the audience, and she saw their faces. Some people had tears in their eyes. Some had their mouths open in shock. Some were just staring at her like they could not believe what they had just witnessed. Then all at once the silence broke. The entire auditorium erupted into applause. Not polite applause, not obligatory applause, but real, genuine, thunderous applause. People were standing up, row after row of people getting to their feet. A standing ovation for her, for Maya Johnson. Students were cheering. Teachers were clapping enthusiastically. Parents were wiping their eyes. The sound was deafening. Maya stood up from the piano bench, overwhelmed. She did not know what to do. She had not prepared for this. She had prepared for the playing, but not for this reaction. She took a small bow like Miss Dot had taught her. The applause got even louder. She looked out into the audience, her eyes adjusting to the lights. She found her mother in the crowd. Linda was standing, clapping, crying, and smiling all at once. Maya had never seen her mother look so proud. She saw Jessica and the soccer girls jumping up and down, cheering like they had just won a championship game. She saw teachers nodding approvingly. She saw students who had laughed at her 2 weeks ago now clapping with genuine amazement. She saw Mr. Davidson standing in the aisle. He was clapping too, but his face looked different. He looked shocked, maybe even a little ashamed. The applause continued. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. People did not want to stop. Maya stood on the stage taking it all in. This moment, this validation, this proof that she was not nobody. She was somebody. She was a musician. She was Maya Johnson. Finally, the teacher backstage gestured for her to exit. Maya took one more small bow and walked off the stage. But the applause followed her. It continued even after she disappeared behind the curtain. Backstage, the other performers stared at her. The remaining acts looked nervous. How were they supposed to follow that? That was incredible, the Shakespeare boy said. Where did you learn to play like that? Maya smiled. My grandmother taught me. The teacher with the clipboard rushed over. Maya, that was stunning. Absolutely stunning. I've been running this talent show for 10 years and I've never seen anything like that. Maya was shaking again, but this time it was not from fear. It was from adrenaline, from excitement, from disbelief that she had actually done it. She had done it. She had stood on that stage and played her heart out, and people had listened, really listened, and they had loved it. All those years of practicing in secret, all those Tuesday and Thursday afternoons with her grandmother, all that work, all that dedication, it had been worth it. It had all led to this moment. Maya found a chair and sat down. Her legs felt weak. Her hands were still tingling from playing. She touched the silver bracelet on her wrist. Thank you, Grandma, she whispered. The talent show continued. The remaining acts performed. They were all good. Some were very good. But Maya knew, and everyone in that auditorium knew, that the show had peaked with her performance. Nothing else would quite measure up to what they had just witnessed. Maya did not sleep well that night either, but this time it was not because of nerves. It was because her mind would not stop replaying the performance, the feel of the piano keys under her fingers, the sound of the music filling the auditorium, the look on people's faces, the standing ovation, the applause that seemed to go on forever. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it all again. And she smiled. When morning came, Maya got ready for school. But today felt different. She stood a little taller. She met her own eyes in the mirror with confidence she had never felt before. Her mother made her a special breakfast, pancakes with syrup. My superstar daughter deserves a good breakfast, Linda said with a proud smile. Mom, stop, Maya said, but she was smiling too. Never, Linda replied. I'm going to brag about you to everyone I know. My daughter, the pianist. Do you know how proud I am? Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. This was new. Being proud of herself. Being acknowledged. Being seen. The bus ride to school felt different too. Maya kept expecting everything to go back to normal. For people to forget about last night. For her to slip back into invisibility. But when she walked through the doors of Lincoln High School, everything had changed. Students turned to look at her. Actually look at her. Not through her like before. At her. That's Maya Johnson, she heard someone whisper. The piano girl. She was incredible. A group of freshmen actually moved aside to let her pass. One of them smiled at her. Great job last night, the boy said. Thank you, Maya said quietly. She was not used to this. To being noticed. To being acknowledged. As she walked down the hallway toward her locker, more students stopped to talk to her. Maya, that performance was amazing. Where did you learn to play like that? I can't believe you've been hiding that talent. Maya answered as best she could, still feeling overwhelmed. This was what she had wanted, right? For people to see her, to recognize her talent. But now that it was happening, it felt strange, uncomfortable, like wearing shoes that did not quite fit. At her locker, she found Jessica waiting with a huge grin on her face. You're famous, Jessica said excitedly. Everyone is talking about you. Did you see the videos? What videos? Maya asked. Jessica pulled out her phone and showed Maya. Multiple students had recorded her performance on their phones. The videos were all over social media. One video had already gotten thousands of views. Thousands of likes, hundreds of comments. Maya scrolled through the comments, her eyes widening. This girl is incredible. I go to this school and had no idea we had someone this talented here. Best performance I've ever seen at a high school talent show. She needs to go professional. Why isn't she famous yet? There were other comments too. Comments from students at Lincoln High who knew her. This is Maya Johnson. She's in my English class. I never knew she could do this. I feel bad for ever ignoring her. She's a superstar. We've been sleeping on her talent for years. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. Good tears. Tears of validation and relief and joy. The view count is going up every minute, Jessica said. Maya, this is going viral. People outside our school are seeing this. You're blowing up. I don't know what to say, Maya admitted. You don't have to say anything, Jessica said. You already said everything you needed to say. With your music. First period was English class. When Maya walked in, the entire class started clapping. Maya's face turned red, but she smiled. Even Mr. Peterson, her English teacher, was clapping. Ms. Johnson, he said warmly, that was a remarkable performance last night. I had no idea we had such a talented musician in our class. You should be very proud of yourself. Thank you, Maya said, taking her seat in the back row. But something new happened. Students who had never spoken to her before turned around in their seats to talk to her. How long have you been playing? Do you take lessons? Are you going to pursue music professionally? Maya answered their questions. It felt surreal. These were the same students who had laughed when Mr. Davidson pointed at her 2 weeks ago. Now they were treating her like a celebrity. The same pattern repeated in every class. Math, history, science. Teachers praised her. Students congratulated her. Some wanted to take selfies with her. Maya allowed it, still feeling like she was in a dream. At lunch, Maya walked into the cafeteria and stopped in her tracks. Her usual table in the corner was occupied by a group of students. But they were not just sitting there. They were waiting for her, Jessica and her soccer friends. Some students from Maya's classes. Even a few people she had never spoken to before. They had all gathered waiting to have lunch with Maya. We saved you a seat, Jessica called out, waving. Maya walked over slowly. The table was full, crowded, loud. Everything her quiet lunches used to not be. But as she sat down, she realized something. This was okay. It was different, but it was okay. Maybe even good. So, one of the soccer girls said, tell us everything. How did you get so good at piano? Maya told them about her grandmother, about the 11 years of lessons, about practicing every Tuesday and Thursday in Miss Dot's small apartment, about learning classical and jazz and modern music. The students listened with genuine interest. They asked questions. They wanted to know more. Why did you keep it secret for so long? A boy named Marcus asked. He was in Maya's history class. Maya thought about this. I guess I was scared, she said honestly. Scared of being judged. Scared of not being good enough. Scared of standing out. But you are good enough, a girl named Sophie said. You're better than good enough. You're amazing. I know that now, Maya said. But it took me a long time to believe it. Well, everyone knows it now, Jessica said. You're the most talked about person in school today. It was true. Everywhere Maya looked, people were watching her. Some with admiration. Some with curiosity. Some with what looked like respect. But not everyone was happy about Maya's sudden fame. The popular girls who had laughed at her were sitting at their usual table across the cafeteria. Maya could see them whispering and glancing over at her. They did not look pleased. They looked annoyed. Maybe even jealous. Maya did not care. For the first time in her life, she did not care what the popular girls thought. During lunch, an announcement came over the loudspeaker. Attention, students. The results of last night's talent show are in. All participants, please report to the main office after lunch to receive your results. Thank you. The cafeteria buzzed with excitement. Everyone started talking about who might have won. It has to be Maya, someone said. Obviously Maya won, another student agreed. I don't know, someone else said. That dance group was really good too. Maya's stomach fluttered with nerves. She had not thought much about winning. The performance itself had been the victory. But now that the results were coming, she felt anxious again. After lunch, Maya made her way to the main office. Other performers were already there. The dance group, the singers, the comedian boys, the guitar player. Everyone who had performed last night, they all looked nervous, excited, hopeful. Mr. Davidson came out of his office. He was holding a piece of paper and a small trophy. He looked directly at Maya, and for a moment their eyes met. He looked uncomfortable. Good, Maya thought. First, I want to congratulate all of you, Mr. Davidson said. You all showed tremendous courage and talent last night. You should all be proud of yourselves. The performers nodded, but everyone was waiting for the results. The judges had a difficult decision to make, Mr. Davidson continued. There were many strong performances, but in the end there was a clear winner. He paused. The hallway was silent. The first-place winner of this year's talent show is Maya Johnson, for her piano performance. Applause erupted. The other performers clapped for Maya. Some looked disappointed, but most seemed to understand. They had heard her performance. They knew it was exceptional. Maya stepped forward. Mr. Davidson handed her a small trophy and an envelope. Inside the envelope was a gift card for $50 and a certificate. Congratulations, Maya, Mr. Davidson said, but he did not quite meet her eyes. Your performance was remarkable, truly remarkable. Thank you, Maya said. She looked him in the eye, making him look back at her, making him see her. I must apologize, Mr. Davidson said, and now he looked genuinely uncomfortable. For what I said at the assembly 2 weeks ago. I made a thoughtless joke at your expense. I had no idea you were such an accomplished musician. I hope you can forgive me. The hallway went quiet. Everyone was watching, waiting to see what Maya would say. Maya thought carefully. She could be bitter. She could make him feel worse. She could make a big deal out of it. But that was not who she was. I forgive you, Maya said simply. But I hope you learned something. Don't make assumptions about people. You never know what they're capable of. Mr. Davidson nodded, looking chastened. You're absolutely right. I did learn something. Thank you for teaching me that lesson. He shook her hand and Maya walked away with her trophy. The rest of the afternoon was a blur. More congratulations. More selfies. More questions. But the biggest surprise came after school. Maya was at her locker getting ready to leave when a woman approached her. She was well dressed in a business suit. She looked professional and important. Maya Johnson? The woman asked. Yes, Maya said. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Chen. I'm a representative from the Berkshire School of Music. It's a prestigious music academy in Massachusetts. I was in the audience last night. Maya's eyes widened. You were? I was, Dr. Chen said with a smile. My niece attends Lincoln High. She dragged me to the talent show. I was not expecting much, to be honest. But then you performed. She pulled a card from her purse and handed it to Maya. I was blown away by your talent. Your technical skill is impressive, but what really stood out was your emotional depth, your ability to connect with the audience. That's rare, especially in someone so young. Maya stared at the card. It had Dr. Chen's name and contact information. The Berkshire School of Music logo was embossed at the top. I'd like to invite you to audition for our summer intensive program, Dr. Chen continued. It's a competitive program. We only accept 30 students from around the country, but I think you would be perfect for it. I don't know what to say, Maya stammered. You don't have to decide right now, Dr. Chen said. Talk to your family. Look at our website. The program is fully funded. All expenses paid. You would spend 8 weeks studying with some of the best music teachers in the country. That sounds amazing, Maya said. Think about it, Dr. Chen said. And call me if you're interested. I think you have a real future in music, Maya. Don't let that talent go to waste. She smiled and walked away, leaving Maya standing in the hallway, holding the card, her mind spinning. A music academy, a summer intensive program, all expenses paid, studying with the best teachers in the country. This was real. This was actually happening. Maya walked outside to wait for the bus, still in a daze. She looked at the card again. The Berkshire School of Music. Maya! She turned to see a local news van parked near the school entrance. A reporter and a cameraman were walking toward her. Maya Johnson? The reporter asked. She was a young woman with perfect hair and a bright smile. I'm Sarah Martinez from News Channel 7. We heard about your incredible performance last night. We've been watching the viral videos. Would you be willing to do a short interview? An interview? Maya repeated. On TV? Just a few questions, Sarah said. About your performance, your background, your love of music. It won't take long. Maya hesitated, but then she thought about her grandmother, about how proud Miss Dot would be to see Maya on the news. Okay, Maya said. I'll do it. The cameraman set up his equipment. Sarah positioned Maya in front of the school. Students walking by stopped to watch. Some pulled out their phones to record. We're rolling, the cameraman said. I'm here with Maya Johnson, Sarah said to the camera, a 10th grader at Lincoln High who gave a stunning piano performance at last night's talent show. Videos of her performance have been viewed over 50,000 times online and counting. Maya, how does it feel to suddenly be internet famous? Maya smiled nervously. It's surreal, honestly. I never expected any of this. Tell us about your performance. Where did you learn to play like that? My grandmother taught me, Maya said. She's been giving me lessons since I was 4 years old. She used to be a professional jazz pianist. She taught me everything I know. That's beautiful, Sarah said. What made you decide to perform in the talent show? Maya thought about the assembly, about Mr. Davidson's joke, about the laughter, but she did not want to talk about that on camera. She did not want to make this about him. I wanted to share my music, Maya said instead. I've been playing for 11 years, but I never performed in public before. I decided it was time to stop hiding. And we're so glad you did, Sarah said. What's next for you? Are you planning to pursue music professionally? I don't know yet, Maya said honestly. But I just got invited to audition for a summer intensive program at a music academy. So maybe. We'll see. Well, we'll be watching your career with great interest, Sarah said. Thank you for talking with us, Maya. And congratulations on your incredible performance. Thank you, Maya said. The interview ended. Students who had been watching applauded. Some asked for selfies with Maya. She felt like she was in some alternate reality. Finally, Maya got on the bus to go to her grandmother's apartment. She could not wait to tell Miss Dot everything that had happened. When she arrived at the apartment, Miss Dot opened the door with the biggest smile Maya had ever seen. There's my superstar granddaughter, Miss Dot said, pulling Maya into a hug. You heard? Maya asked. Heard? Baby, I've seen the videos. Evelyn from church sent me the links this morning. I must have watched your performance 20 times. I cried every single time. They sat on the couch and Maya told her grandmother everything. About the performance. About the standing ovation. About winning first place. About the viral videos. About Dr. Chen and the Music Academy. About the news interview. Miss Dot listened with tears of joy in her eyes. I am so proud of you, Miss Dot said. Not just because you're talented, though you are, but because you were brave. You faced your fears. You stepped into the light. That takes real courage. I couldn't have done it without you, Grandma, Maya said. You believed in me when no one else did. You taught me that my music matters. Your music does matter, Miss Dot said firmly. And now the world knows it. This is just the beginning, Maya. You have a gift, and now you're not hiding it anymore. They talked for hours about the music academy, about Maya's future, about possibilities and dreams. When Maya finally got home that evening, she was exhausted but happy. Her mother was waiting for her. You were on the news, Linda said excitedly. My coworkers kept calling me. Is that your daughter on TV? I recorded it. She played the recorded interview for Maya. Seeing herself on TV was strange, but also amazing. This was really happening. That night, Maya lay in bed thinking about everything that had changed in 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, she was invisible. Nobody. The quiet girl in the back of the room. Now she was visible, recognized, respected. Somebody. But what surprised Maya most was that she did not feel that different inside. She was still herself. Still Maya. She still liked quiet moments. She still preferred books to parties. She still felt shy sometimes. The only difference was that now she was not hiding. She was letting people see who she really was, and that made all the difference. She looked at the trophy on her desk. First place. She looked at Dr. Chen's card next to it, the Berkshire School of Music. She touched the silver bracelet on her wrist. Her grandmother's lucky bracelet. She had done it. She had stepped into the light. And instead of burning her, the light had made her shine. Maya smiled to herself in the darkness. This was just the beginning. She did not know what the future held. But for the first time in her life, she was excited to find out. She was not invisible anymore, and she never would be again. The next morning, Maya woke up to her phone buzzing with notifications. Text messages, social media mentions, friend requests from people she did not know. The videos of her performance had now been viewed over 200,000 times. Comments kept pouring in from people all over the country. It was overwhelming, but also exciting. At breakfast, her mother showed her an email that had arrived overnight. It was from a local newspaper. They wanted to do a feature story on Maya. Local Teens Hidden Talent Takes Internet by Storm was the proposed headline. What do you think? Linda asked. Do you want to do it? Maya thought about it. A month ago, she would have said no immediately. The thought of being in the newspaper would have terrified her. But now things were different. Yes, Maya said. I want to do it, Linda smiled proudly. My brave girl. When Maya arrived at school that Thursday morning, she noticed something different immediately. The main hallway had a new banner hanging from the ceiling. Congratulations, Maya Johnson, talent show winner. It read in big, colorful letters. Maya stopped and stared at it. Someone had made this for her. The school had made this for her. Pretty cool, right? Jessica appeared beside her with a grin. The student council put it up this morning. They wanted to celebrate you. This is crazy, Maya said, still staring at the banner. This is awesome, Jessica corrected. Get used to it, Maya. You're kind of a big deal now. Walking through the hallways felt different every day now. Students who had never noticed her before now smiled and said hello. Teachers stopped her to congratulate her. Even the lunch ladies in the cafeteria gave her extra food and winked at her. For our star, one of them said, adding an extra cookie to Maya's tray. But the biggest change came during third period. Maya was in history class when there was a knock on the door. The school secretary poked her head in. Excuse me, Mr. Reynolds, she said to the teacher. May I borrow Maya Johnson for a moment? Maya gathered her things and followed the secretary to the main office. She had no idea what this was about. In the office, Mr. Davidson was waiting, but he was not alone. There was another man with him, an older black man wearing a nice suit and glasses. He had kind eyes and a warm smile. Maya, Mr. Davidson said, this is Dr. James Carter. He's the superintendent of our school district. Maya shook Dr. Carter's hand, confused about why the superintendent wanted to meet her. Maya, I want you to know that your performance the other night was extraordinary, Dr. Carter said. When I heard about it, I knew I had to come see you personally. I've watched the videos. You have a remarkable gift. Thank you, Maya said. I also want to apologize, Dr. Carter said, glancing at Mr. Davidson. I heard about what happened at the assembly, about the joke that was made at your expense. That was unacceptable. Our schools should be places where every student feels valued and respected. You deserved better. Mr. Davidson looked uncomfortable but said nothing. But what I'm most impressed by, Dr. Carter continued, is how you responded. Instead of backing down, you stepped up. You proved yourself. That takes character. That takes strength. Thank you, sir, Maya said. I'd like to propose something, Dr. Carter said. Our school district has been looking for ways to expand our arts programs. Music specifically. Would you be interested in helping us start a music mentorship program? You could teach piano to younger students, share your knowledge, help other kids who might have hidden talents like yours. Maya's eyes widened. You want me to teach? I think you would be excellent at it, Dr. Carter said. You're proof that with dedication and the right guidance, anyone can develop extraordinary skills. Imagine what you could do for other students, especially students who might feel overlooked or underestimated. Maya thought about it. Teaching piano, helping other kids discover their own talents. It sounded scary, but also meaningful, important. I'd like to try, Maya said. Wonderful, Dr. Carter said with a big smile. We'll set up a meeting with you and your family to discuss the details. This could be the beginning of something special, Maya. Not just for you, but for our whole district. After Dr. Carter left, Mr. Davidson asked if he could speak to Maya privately. They went into his office. He closed the door and sat down heavily in his chair. Maya, he said, looking directly at her now, I owe you more than a simple apology. What I did at the assembly was thoughtless and hurtful. I made a joke at your expense in front of the entire school. I embarrassed you, and I'm deeply sorry. Maya waited, letting him continue. I realized something watching your performance, Mr. Davidson said. I realized that I had made assumptions about you, about who you were and what you could do. Those assumptions were wrong, and they were rooted in bias. Unconscious bias, perhaps, but bias nonetheless. He paused, choosing his words carefully. You're a young black woman in a predominantly white school, he continued. I should have been more aware, more careful, more thoughtful. Instead, I made you the punchline of a joke. That's inexcusable. I appreciate you saying that, Maya said. I want you to know that I'm going to do better, Mr. Davidson said. I'm going to be more mindful of how I speak about and to all our students. And I'm going to make sure our school is a place where every student's talents are recognized and celebrated, regardless of their background or how visible they are. Maya nodded. She could see that he meant it. He looked genuinely remorseful. Thank you, Maya said. I accept your apology. They shook hands and Maya left the office feeling lighter. The man who had humiliated her had acknowledged his mistake, had apologized genuinely, had committed to doing better. That meant something. The rest of the week flew by in a whirlwind. The newspaper published their feature story about Maya on Friday. The article included photos from the talent show and quotes from her interview. It talked about her grandmother and her 11 years of lessons. It mentioned the viral videos and the Music Academy invitation. By Saturday, Maya had been invited to perform at 3 different community events. A fundraiser for the local library, a charity concert for the Children's Hospital, a celebration at a community center in her grandmother's neighborhood. Maya said yes to all of them. She was not hiding anymore. She was sharing her gift with the world. On Sunday afternoon, Maya performed at her grandmother's church again, but this time the church was packed. Word had spread about Miss Dott's talented granddaughter. People came from all over the neighborhood to hear her play. Maya performed the same medley she had played at the talent show. Beethoven into Alicia Keys into jazz improvisation. When she finished, the church erupted in applause and shouts of Amen and Hallelujah. After the service, person after person came up to Maya to shake her hand and congratulate her, to tell her how much her music had moved them, to thank her for sharing her gift. One elderly woman, tears streaming down her face, held Maya's hands and said, Child, you reminded me why music matters. You reminded me that beauty still exists in this world. Thank you. Maya felt tears in her own eyes. This was why she played music. Not for fame or recognition, but to touch people's hearts, to make them feel something, to connect. The following week at school, Maya started the music mentorship program. 5 students had signed up. 3 elementary students and 2 middle schoolers. They met twice a week after school in the music room. Maya was nervous at first. She had never taught anyone except herself. But she channeled her grandmother's patience and wisdom. She started with the basics. Proper hand position, how to read notes, simple melodies. The kids were eager and excited. They looked at Maya with admiration. With hope, she saw herself in them. Kids who loved music but did not have many opportunities to learn. One of the students was a little black girl named Zoe. She was 7 years old with big bright eyes and pigtails. After the first lesson, Zoe raised her hand. "Miss Maya," she said shyly, "can I ask you something?" "Of course," Maya said. "Were you scared?" Zoe asked. "At the talent show? When you had to play in front of all those people?" Maya knelt down to be at Zoe's eye level. "I was terrified," she said honestly. "Really?" Zoe looked surprised. "Really," Maya said. "My hands were shaking. My heart was beating so fast. I almost ran away." "But you didn't," Zoe said. "No, I didn't," Maya agreed. "Do you know why?" Zoe shook her head. "Because I realized that being scared doesn't mean you can't do something," Maya said. "It just means you care. And caring is important. So I took a deep breath and I played anyway. And I'm so glad I did." "I want to be brave like you," Zoe said. "You already are," Maya told her. "You signed up for these lessons. You're here learning something new. That's brave." Zoe smiled, and Maya saw her future self in that little girl's eyes. Another young musician waiting to bloom. Over the next few weeks, Maya's life settled into a new normal. She was no longer invisible, but she was also no longer overwhelmed by the attention. The viral videos had slowed down. The news interviews had ended. Life went on, but things were fundamentally different now. Maya had friends. Real friends, not just acquaintances. Jessica and the soccer girls invited her to hang out on weekends. She said yes sometimes. She still valued her alone time. But she also enjoyed having people who cared about her. Maya had purpose. Teaching the young students gave her a sense of meaning. She was passing on her grandmother's gift, creating a new generation of musicians. Maya had confidence. She walked through the school hallways with her head up. She raised her hand in class. She spoke her mind. She took up space. She was no longer trying to be invisible. In November, Maya auditioned for the Berkshire School of Music summer program. She performed the same medley she had done at the talent show, but this time in front of a panel of judges at the academy. 3 weeks later, she received a letter. She had been accepted. Full scholarship, all expenses paid. 8 weeks of intensive music training with the best teachers in the country. Maya cried when she read the letter. Her mother cried. Her grandmother cried. They all cried together, tears of joy and pride and gratitude. "You did it, baby," Miss Dot said, holding Maya close. "You stepped into your greatness. This is just the beginning." In December, the school held a winter concert. Maya was asked to perform. She agreed on one condition. She wanted her students from the mentorship program to perform with her. The school said yes. Maya spent weeks preparing the kids. They practiced a simple song together. Maya would play the main melody on the piano, and the students would play accompanying parts on smaller keyboards. The night of the winter concert, the auditorium was full again. But Maya was not nervous this time. She was excited, proud. She wanted to show everyone what her students could do. When it was their turn to perform, Maya walked onto the stage with Zoe and the other 4 students. The audience applauded. Maya sat at the grand piano. Her students positioned themselves at the keyboards arranged around her. She looked at them and smiled. "Ready?" she asked. They nodded, nervous but determined. Maya began to play. The students joined in, their small hands finding the right keys. They made a few mistakes, but they kept going. They played with heart, with joy, with pride. When they finished, the audience gave them a standing ovation. Not just for the performance, but for what it represented. Growth, opportunity, the passing on of gifts from one generation to the next. Backstage, Zoe hugged Maya tightly. "We did it, Miss Maya." "You did it," Maya corrected gently. "You were all amazing." Later that night, Maya sat with her mother and grandmother at their small kitchen table. They were eating Miss Dot's famous cookies and drinking hot chocolate. "I've been thinking," Maya said, "about everything that's happened, about how much things have changed." "And?" Linda prompted. "I used to think that being invisible was safe," Maya said. "I thought if people didn't see me, they couldn't hurt me, couldn't judge me, couldn't reject me. But," Miss Dot asked, "but being invisible also meant people couldn't love me, couldn't appreciate me, couldn't learn from me," Maya continued. "I was so afraid of being seen that I was hiding my whole self, my gifts, my voice, my truth." She paused, gathering her thoughts. That joke Mr. Davidson made hurt me, Maya said. It really hurt, but it also woke me up. It made me realize that I was letting other people's assumptions define me. I was letting fear control my life. And now? Linda asked softly. Now I'm not afraid anymore, Maya said. I mean, I still get nervous sometimes, but I'm not afraid to be seen. I'm not afraid to share my gifts. I'm not afraid to take up space. Miss Dot reached across the table and squeezed Maya's hand. That's what I've been waiting to hear, baby. That's freedom. That's power. That's you stepping into who you were always meant to be. I couldn't have done it without you, Grandma, Maya said. You taught me more than just piano. You taught me that my voice matters, that my story matters, that I matter. You've always mattered, Miss Dot said. I just helped you see it. They sat together in comfortable silence, eating cookies and enjoying each other's company. 3 generations of strong women, each with their own struggles and triumphs, each with their own story to tell. As Maya got ready for bed that night, she thought about the future, about the summer program at the Music Academy, about continuing to teach her students, about her senior year and college applications and all the possibilities ahead. She did not have everything figured out. She still had doubts and fears and questions, but that was okay. She was learning that being brave did not mean never being scared. It meant being scared and doing it anyway. Maya looked at herself in the mirror. The same face, the same eyes, the same girl, but also different, stronger, braver, more herself than she had ever been. She thought about that moment at the assembly when Mr. Davidson had pointed at her and everyone had laughed. That moment that had hurt so much. That moment that had changed everything. She was grateful for it now. Not because it was kind or fair, but because it had pushed her to make a choice, to stay small or to grow, to hide or to shine. She had chosen to shine, and in doing so she had discovered something important, something true, something powerful. She had discovered that the things we fear most are often the things we need most to face, that our gifts are meant to be shared, not hidden, that being vulnerable is not weakness but strength. Most importantly, she had discovered that she was not defined by other people's assumptions or expectations. She was defined by her own choices, her own courage, her own truth. Maya Johnson was no longer invisible. She was visible, vibrant, valuable, and she was just getting started. The next morning at school, Maya walked through the hallways with purpose. She smiled at people, said hello, made eye contact. She was present. She was there. She was seen. In the cafeteria at lunch, she sat with her friends. They laughed and talked and made plans for the weekend. Maya contributed to the conversation, shared her thoughts, took up space in the group. After school, she taught her piano students. She watched them learn and grow and gain confidence. She saw herself in them, and she knew that by sharing her gift, she was helping them find their own. At home that evening, Maya practiced her piano. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Because music was her joy, her passion, her voice. She played her grandmother's old upright piano. Her fingers danced across the familiar keys. She played classical and modern and jazz. She played what was written and what she felt. She played her truth. And somewhere in the music, Maya found peace. Not the peace of hiding or avoiding or disappearing, but the peace of being fully, authentically, courageously herself. She had learned the most important lesson of all, the one her grandmother had been trying to teach her all along. Excellence speaks louder than words. Talent breaks through assumptions, and when you share your gifts with the world, you give others permission to share theirs. Maya Johnson had been the quiet girl in the back, the invisible one, the nobody that everybody overlooked, but she was never really nobody. She had always been somebody. She had always mattered. She had always had value. She just needed to believe it herself, and now she did. The principal had told a black girl to play the piano as a joke. He had pointed at her and laughed. He had assumed she could not possibly have talent, could not possibly surprise him. But Maya had done more than surprise him. She had amazed the whole school, had touched hearts, had changed minds, had proven that assumptions are often wrong and that hidden gifts are waiting to be discovered. She had shown everyone that the quiet ones are not always powerless, and that the overlooked ones might be extraordinary, that the girl in the back might have the most beautiful voice of all. And in doing so, she had changed her own life, had stepped into her power, had claimed her space in the world. Maya's story was not over. It was just beginning. There would be more challenges, more opportunities, more growth, more music. But whatever came next, Maya knew one thing for certain. She would face it as herself, fully, proudly, openly, no more hiding, no more shrinking, no more being invisible. She was Maya Johnson, pianist,